great to see you here on a Saturday. And as I promised you, after every England match, now in these phases of the knockout rounds, I will be doing a Substack Live. And of course, that is going to continue as long as England get in as far as they can go in this World Cup. And of course, I will also do the World Cup final aftermath as well. We hope that England can get there. They have a very good chance now to do so, even though we'll find out who they play on Wednesday. That is going to be in Atlanta. England against the winner of Argentina versus Switzerland, which is coming up at the top of the next hour. Vicky, hello to you. I knew you would be here, says Vicky. Absolutely, Vicky. You know very well that I would be here. And I did say, win or lose, I would be here. And of course, we won. And thank God for that. Hello to you, Vicky. It's great to see you as ever. What a contest. I'm just thankful that England got through. The three lions on the shirt, absolutely buzzing about England. They didn't play particularly well in this game, at least in the first half. They moved the ball way too slowly for my liking. They had some players who were very ineffective on the ball. They were subbed off by our manager, Thomas Tuchel, who, of course, as you know, is from Germany, has never managed a national team before, but so far, so good with him. He has made waves with some of the selections for the team. But listen, all the people who have criticized him for some of his team selections won't be saying very much about him now, because England, for only the fourth time in their history in the World Cup, have made it to a semi-final. And put it this way, let me tell you this. I predicted before this tournament started that England would get to the semi-finals. I hope that they can go one further than that. In fact, two further than that. Not only get to the World Cup final, but win the World Cup final. And if England were to get past whomever it would be, Argentina, who are going to be very difficult to deal with, and or Switzerland, my goodness me, we could potentially win our first World Cup in 60 years. The last time we won a World Cup, the only time England have ever won a World Cup, the men's team at least, was 1966. So we'll see about that. Hello to you, Puma. Nice to see you. Vicky says she heard that England won before you even got in. Well, before I got in here today, England got this win a few minutes ago. Dramatic scenes from the stadium there in Miami with David Beckham watching and all the rest of the world watching, Mick Jagger at the game. So many other people there watching this game. Hello to you, Carol Phipps. Carol, how are we doing now? Carol, how are we doing, Carol Phipps? I think we're doing very well, aren't we, Carol? Right now, we've got to be pretty much over the moon with this England side. And again, they did not do too well in terms of the way they started the game, Carol. I think you will agree with me. We're so happy. Yes, we won, says Carol. Indeed, we did. Hello there, Puma, who says, hi, Big O. This was just a magical game, at least a magical game for one Jude Bellingham. Although it wasn't magic, it was skill. Jude Bellingham got the 2 goals for England today after Norway took the lead. I think it was in the 36th minute or something like that for Norway. A really good goal from them to put Norway in front 1-0, 1-0. And then in injury time in the first half, Jude Bellingham came in and got the goal, 1-1. It gave England a lot of momentum in the late stage of that first half. And then it was second half time. England got a second goal. My goodness me. But that was not for a long time in this game. There were some scares. There were some saves. There was a disallowed goal for Norway in the second half because there was a foul in the box. Their best player, Erling Haaland, did not really make a dent in this game, and he had to be subbed off because of, I guess, an injury, perhaps. This was really one of those kinds of games that could have gone either way. Norway played particularly well, but they did not get Erling Haaland involved in the game sufficiently. England's defense was very solid. It got better as the game advanced, where Norway's defending was a little bit tricky. And the thing that that Norway are never going to live down is their goalkeeper making a mistake. He could not hold on to the ball in the extra time period. 3 minutes into the first extra time period, the ball spilled out of the Norway goalkeeper's hands off of a long-range shot from Morgan Rogers, the substitute, and then in pounced Jude Bellingham to smash home the rebound. His second goal of the game and the winning goal for England. Obviously, the man of the match today was Jude Bellingham. And if you don't know who Jude Bellingham is, please, please, please go and Google him. Erling Haaland was talking a lot before this game in the last few days. Oh, people are going to be Googling my name. Erling Haaland's 22 or 23 years old. He's a young lad. He'll have to learn to really keep a low profile in the days coming up to these big games because he really didn't do anything for anybody to Google him about. No doubt Erling Haaland is a world-class player, but he is going to absolutely have to pipe down here. And now he's now been subbed off in this game. Apparently, maybe an injury, exhaustion, or both, because there's no way that Norway would sub off their best player, their most dangerous player, if he didn't have some kind of injury. And you could see him on the bench. He looked crestfallen. It couldn't be just exhaustion. It had to be that he had an injury of some kind. And clearly, you would not sub off your best player if he was not injured in some way. Vicky says she's going to lie down. I had a cardiac MRI stress test today at 5 p.m. I need to rest. Well, Vicky, please do. Oh, my goodness. Thanks for even joining. I'm shocked that you would even bother to come in here. Please rest, Vicky. That's far more important. Far more important than watching me, I guarantee you. But Vicky, thank you for your abiding loyalty. And please, I do hope that you get as much rest as you need. Very important self-care. Vicky, thank you for joining us and take good care of yourself. Please rest. Much more important than watching yours truly here. But thank you, Vicky, for even the few minutes that you could give. And I do hope everything works out for you with your test and all the rest of it. So thank you for being here, Vicky. And please go and get some rest. Thank you. Amy has said hello. Stacy from California, right here, has said hello. Good evening, Omar. Oh, Stacy, good evening to you. I am so over the moon, Stacy, here in San Francisco. I'm going to be parading the England flag, of course. As you know, this is the 1966 shirt. This is the replica of the 1966 shirt that Bobby Moore, one of our great defenders, wore at the 1966 World Cup final when we beat West Germany by a score of 4 goals to 2. That's the only time we ever won a World Cup, and we're hoping to double that total this time around, 60 years later. But still, we still have to find out who we're going to play on Wednesday in Atlanta, either Argentina or Switzerland. That game will be played between Argentina and Switzerland at the top of the hour. That would be 9 p.m. Eastern time tonight. So, again, fantastic game for England in the end. We did not play well, didn't move the ball quickly enough. The manager, Thomas Tuchel, was very upset with the way England played, did not like the way they played, and I did not like the first half from England. You have to move the ball faster in these contests. You cannot move the ball slowly. I understand, obviously, in Miami, it was over 90 degrees Fahrenheit at the start of the game. It was very hot, very humid, and of course, this time of year in Miami is always that. So England were going to be up against it. So were Norway. But England had hot temperatures anyway, even before this tournament. We've been having hot temperatures in England right now over the last few weeks. A lot of Europe has, a lot of the United States has, including New York. So England had to adjust to the heat. And look, I think they were trying to conserve their energy, but that first half was really poor. The ball did not move well. England did not move well without the ball. They were content to just pass the ball in front of Norway. Norway just stood up. They had blocks of 5 along the box and a little bit higher up the pitch. And what you saw was an England team just passing the ball around and not attacking the spaces and not putting balls into the box and not making the Norway defense work. So really, that was something that was not good for England. England cannot play like that in the next game, whomever they're playing, because you never know. Switzerland might even get through tonight. We don't know. Argentina, I think, have been riding a little bit of luck the last couple of games, being down by a goal against well, they weren't down by a goal against Cape Verde, but they were definitely in trouble against Cape Verde. And of course, just the other day, down 2-0 against Egypt, and they were able to pull these games out. Bottom line, though, is that you really cannot afford to go down 2-0 against any team at this stage in the World Cup. Messi, of course, is the world's best player at the minute. We know that. Has been for a number of years. I do not think that Messi is the greatest player of all time. Can somebody check Pele? Can somebody Google Pele? The man won what, 3, 4 World Cups, okay? The late, great Pele, I think, but no, unquestionably the world's greatest football player ever. Everybody's rushing to anoint Lionel Messi. And as great as Messi is, he ain't no Pele, okay? So let's kind of hold the horses there on Lionel Messi. But we'll see. Messi is a tremendous player. I'm sure that he'll do some damage tonight. Would I be shocked if Argentina get past Switzerland tonight? No, I would not. But we'll see. It would be a tremendous semi-final if we get to play Argentina. I mean, I think we'd prefer to play Switzerland, but England have proven in this tournament in the last couple of games they've got a lot of character. What you saw tonight from England was strong character. Sometimes you don't play games very well in these tournaments, but a lot of the thing that really does count, one of the great intangibles in any sport, is your character. How do you behave after your team has gone down a goal, after your team has lost a man in a tournament due to a red card? And over these last two games, England have answered the test and answered those questions with one word: character. The character of this England side was so much in display today, having gone a goal behind, replying with a goal just before half time, and then weathering a really tough storm in this game and scoring the all decisive winner in the first 3 minutes of the extra time that was played. That's character, to come from a goal down and win the game. That's very, very important. We saw the character last Sunday against Mexico in their stadium in Mexico. Hostile environment, Mexico City, very hostile at the Estadio Azteca, a stadium where England have had very unhappy memories. And what's very interesting is exactly 40 years ago, and I said this on Sunday, 40 years ago, back in 1986, England played in the Estadio Azteca and lost to Argentina by a 2-1 score with the infamous Hand of God goal by Diego Maradona of Argentina. We might get to play Argentina in the semifinal. If Argentina win their game against Switzerland starting at 9 p.m. Eastern tonight, 40 years later, England might be able to get some revenge against the World Cup champions. I do believe that these things can be very interesting. Karma and all these other things about sports. Same thing with my beloved New York Knicks. 27 years ago, they were in the NBA Finals the last time, lost to San Antonio in 5 games. I predicted before these NBA Finals started that the Knicks would beat the Spurs in 5 games. And that's exactly what happened. Who knows? We could see something similar with England. The Knicks had not won for 53 years, and England have not won a World Cup for 60 years. And you've seen this in various sports over the last few years, and certainly this year, this calendar year. A lot of the men's teams in particular who have won championships had not won them in a long time. We saw this, of course, with the Michigan men's team that won the basketball in college NCAA this year. We saw this, of course, with the Carolina Hurricanes in the Stanley Cup. They hadn't won a Stanley Cup for 20 years. We saw this with the Knicks, of course, as I just mentioned. We saw this with the men's college football national championship. Indiana hadn't won in its history, I think, in the men's football, college football championships. So we're seeing teams that hadn't won for a long time or ever winning these championships. And it could happen again with England. Argentina, they won just last time. Switzerland has never won a World Cup. Spain won a World Cup, I think back in 2012 or something like that, or 2014. I forget what the year was. So we'll find out about that. France won, of course, in 2018. So all of these teams that are left in the tournament, with the exception of Switzerland, who have not won forever. England hasn't won forever. Switzerland's never won. Spain has won. France has won. Argentina has won. So you never know how that goes. I want to welcome you in. Thank you very much for joining me here on the World Cup semi-final post-match wrap for your England. Get in there, Judy. Jude Bellingham getting the 2 goals to give England the 2-1 come-from-behind victory in extra time at the stadium there in Miami. I think it's the Hard Rock Cafe Stadium. By the way, another person who was at this game, who I didn't tell you about, was Venus Williams, who I think has a share of ownership in the Hard Rock Cafe Stadium. She was sitting there, I think, with her husband, and there was a brief glimpse of her on the TV monitors. Of course, the commentators didn't say a word. How dare they? Venus Williams was at the match as well today, and saw England win this game. A great character building win. Carol says that's why you keep pushing. You never give up. I want to say hello to D Batiste, to Frog Pond, to D Anna, to Darnell Martin. Hello, Darnell. It's great to see you. And by the way, if you don't know who Darnell Martin is, I would advise you to go and Google her as well. Darnell, thank you very much for joining us as well. And I didn't even acknowledge you the last time, which is how dare I? Darnell, thank you very much indeed for joining us. It's great to have you here. Much appreciated as well. And also, Shelter, I believe, has joined us as well. Shelter from the storm, as Bobby Dylan would say. Carol, this was a great win for us. Again, we did not play well in the game. But again, as you know, Carol, as everybody else watching knows who watches sports, and even if you don't know, even if you don't watch sports, even if you're not an England fan, if you're not a football fan, come on, it's not soccer. It's football. It's football, okay? There's only two countries in the world that calls it, well, anyway, one of them is this country. This is one of the only countries in the world that calls it soccer. It's football, okay? I know you have football here, your NFL, I get it. But come on, it's football. It's football, okay? We don't play football with our hands, unlike what they do here in the US. How do you play football with your hands? Come on. It should be the National Handball League, not the National Football League. Anyway, I also should point out, speaking of teams that had not won championships for a while, how could I forget the Seattle Seahawks in the NFL? Speaking of Super Bowls, they had not won a Super Bowl in a while either. So again, the trend this year, and has been in other years as well, but the trend in 2026 is for men's teams to win after a long time of not winning. Now, in women's teams, we've seen well, so far we've not really had, except for the Commissioner's Cup in the WNBA, a team going long periods without winning. We had the New York Liberty win the Commissioner's Cup. They won that only a few short years ago. And they also won, of course, the WNBA title back in 2024. So the Liberty have won recently. So in terms of women playing in basketball or any other sport, there have been professional women's teams that have won more recently, right? The Las Vegas Aces just won the WNBA championship just last year. They had won it 2 years ago and three of the last 4 years. So in the case of the women's game, um, there've been teams that have won more recently, more consistently. In the women's world, in the World Cup for women, I hate to use the women's to say it's the World Cup where women are playing the game of football. You had the US winning it recently. You've had so in the sports where women are playing, as opposed to the sports where men are playing, the men's teams have gone a lot longer without winning the game, without winning the championships. The women's teams have managed to win more frequently. Okay. It's great to have you here. I'm not going to do this for too long because I know there's another game at the top of this hour. Thank you very much for joining me here. You are watching yours truly, Omar, here on Saturday night with the World Cup semifinal post match. I'll be doing this as long as England are in the tournament. And also, I'll be doing this for the World Cup final, whomever the two teams are in that World Cup final. I'm so great for you to join. I'm so grateful to you for spending your precious time on this Saturday evening watching this. You could be doing something much more interesting than watching me, but thank you very much for doing it. I'll stick around for a bit longer. I'll entertain any questions you have about the game or about anything to do with football. I'm not going to do anything on politics and on the other things. I'm writing an essay right now, actually. I haven't finished it yet on one or two issues that I don't even want to disclose at the moment, but there'll be an essay posted either late tonight or sometime early tomorrow morning that I've been working on for the last few days and just trying to polish things up. And then that will be out to you. So if you're a subscriber, please stay tuned and look out for that essay that's coming. It's going to be a very interesting read, and maybe an uncomfortable read, but I really would love to know what you have to think about it. But I will be completely tightened up here with that until I disclose that when I put it out there in the next few hours or in the next day. So anyway, I know it's awfully cryptic what I just said, but the bottom line is that this essay is coming out shortly. I'll be reading out your comments as I've been doing. Again, thank you very much for joining us here on the post-match after England come from behind against Norway. Norway, by the way, this is the furthest they've ever gone in the World Cup. I want to give a massive shout out for Norway, even though they did lose. To be gracious in winning as well as being gracious in defeat is important. And Norway, hats off to them. They were spirited. Their fans were terrific. When I was in New York last month, all you saw around New York City were Norway shirts and Norway fans. I talked to a couple of Norway fans uh, during the time I was there in New York. And so they have a lot of really committed fans, camaraderie terrific, their chanting is terrific. And Norway gave you a little bit something. They've got nothing to be ashamed of. Again, this is the furthest Norway ever have got in their history in the World Cup to the quarterfinal stage. So again, they've got nothing to be ashamed of. I know the talking point, and I don't think I finished this thought from a few minutes ago. The big talk in Norway, unfortunately, is going to be about the goalkeeper because he did make that mistake in the first 3 minutes of the first extra time period. He could have punched the ball away. I think I did mention this earlier. He could have punched the ball away, but he parried the ball. He pushed the ball out into the path of an oncoming England player. That would be one Mr. Sir Jude Bellingham, who should get a knighthood after what he's done. He's got 6 goals now total in this World Cup. He's right behind the likes of Messi and, of course, Kylian Mbappe, who, of course, his French team is into the semi-final as well. France will play in one semi-final against the likes of Spain. That's going to be one hell of a contest. That's Tuesday, and that I think is going to be in Dallas. So that will be the first semi-final on Tuesday. The second semi-final will be on Wednesday. England, you know, are in that. They'll be taking on the winner of Argentina versus Switzerland, which is at the top of this next hour at 9 p.m. Eastern time tonight on Fox or wherever you want to watch. I think it's on Telemundo as well. If you don't want to hear the English language version, you can go and switch to the Spanish language version to watch that game between Argentina and Switzerland, which, by the way, is not a fait accompli for Argentina. If you think that Argentina are going to roll over Switzerland, you better think again. The thing is, and before I get back to England and read out your comments, the thing is, Switzerland are a very good defensive team. And I really was hoping that Egypt were going to beat Argentina in that last contest. And listen, while I freely admit, and I've said it many times, England has colonized 3/5 of the world. That I will certainly not be proud of. And I don't stand up for that at all because they colonized a number of my ancestors. And in fact, I never lose sight of this when you talk about England. This book is a very, very important book by Safnan Sangera, and I really would advise you to read it. So listen, if you want to know why colonizers are in this World Cup semifinals, look no further. And Argentina's record, by the way, isn't great either in that front. But listen, France, colonizer, Spain, colonizer, England, colonizer. Will Argentina, who certainly have not had their hands free of blood, will they join them? We will see. But again, if you want to know why they're colonizers, ill-gotten gains and the riches and the football and the money, you've got the best players. And African nations have got nothing to be ashamed of either. African nations did a tremendous job in this World Cup. So I want to just acknowledge that as well. But Switzerland are a much better defensive team than Egypt are. And I was rooting for Egypt, but Egypt's defense just is not as good. And so Argentina was able to come back, by the way, dubiously, because really Egypt should have had a 3-0 lead in the game. But the bottom line is that Egypt are not as good defensively as this Switzerland team that Argentina are going to face at the top of the hour at 9 p.m. Eastern. So got to keep that in mind. This is going to be a very, very decent game. And I think Switzerland will give Argentina everything they've got. And I would not be shocked if they were an upset, but I expect that Argentina, whatever that was, might have been my sign here, which I'm actually going to show you. You've probably seen this sign, or maybe you've not. This is a 1921 sign from the Deep South, from a movie theater called the Lenox Theater in Augusta, Georgia. So I bought a replica of this. It's from March of 1921, when you would have seen these signs regularly. And of course, you saw lots of signs that also say no blacks allowed. In fact, they didn't use the word blacks either. So anyway, this sign just kind of made some noise behind me. And I normally have it pulled up here. But anyway, that's that. But anyhow, Switzerland are going to be very good defensively here. So look out for that tonight. But I expect that Argentina are going to find their way past Switzerland. And then you're going to have a very interesting rematch of England against Argentina. And I'm telling you, that is going to be an absolute war. Think the Falklands War of 1982. or thereabouts. Anyway, Angie was at a sports bar in Maryland rooting for England. Thank you, Angie. Yes, Angie. Thank you, Angie Decadence. It's always good to see you here. Angie, Angie. Now, you know who sang that. Of course, Angie, you know who sang that. And he was at the game today. Who am I talking about, Angie? Who am I talking about? Who sang Angie? Angie. You know who I'm talking about. You know which band he's a part of, right? I want you, Angie, to type in who it was who was at the game who sang that song. Angie. And I can't do his voice. And by the way, he also, Angie, modeled his dances off of Tina Turner, although of course he doesn't dance anywhere near as great as Tina Turner did. But anyway, I want you, Angie, and you alone, Angie, to type in. Don't give it away for her, please. Those of you who know. I want Angie to type in the answer to my question. Joanne, hello to you. Congrats, England, says Shelter. Thank you, Shelter. Thank you for that. Nicole has joined us. Hello, Nicole. Love it, says Shelter. That's great. And I love having you here, Shelter. Thank you, everybody. Love having all of you here. I'll be doing this for a little bit longer. Thank you very much indeed, Angie, for your support and everyone else. Carol, hello again to you. That's why you keep pushing. I think I read this up before, but I'll read it again. You never give up. That's right, Carol. That's what happens. And sometimes, again, sometimes it's not about who plays well. It's about the intangibles. I think sports often is about the intangibles. In fact, sports is about the intangibles more than it is about if you play better than the other side. How many times have we seen teams who have better records in a sporting event, better opportunities in a sporting event, but they lose? How many times have we seen teams playing better than other teams, but yet sometimes still not getting over the line and not winning the games? It's about the opportunities that you take, and it's about the character that you have. Those are the intangibles in sports: character, resilience, okay? Being able to make the most of the opportunities you have and taking the chances that you have. Case in point, today at Wimbledon, the women's final, which normally is a snooze in Wimbledon, the women's final in tennis at Wimbledon is usually the worst thing. And I'll explain why I say that. Because usually the women's final is over in about 45 minutes. Because usually it's a dominating performance, not every year, but usually the women's final at Wimbledon, the singles final, is usually over in 45 minutes. And it looked like it was heading that way again. But one of the two Czech players who played today put up a really good fight, only to lose in the third set. And I was glad that the match went to 3 sets. So, you want to see that in these games. And of course, the men's final is tomorrow at Wimbledon in South W10, which of course is the zip code, if you will, for Wimbledon in Southwest London. I think it's South SW10. I should know. I've been to Wimbledon. I should know what that is. But anyway, maybe I shouldn't know what that is. But the bottom line is that that's the tennis. Of course, we saw that today. There'll be tennis tomorrow. The men's players playing tomorrow in the final between Sinner and Zverev. That is the men's final. But back to the English football and England today. Tremendous result. England were favored to win the match against Norway. England ranked number 4 in the world. Norway ranked, I believe it's number 32 in the world or something like that. I think they're number 32 in the world, Norway. So England now will advance to the semifinals. They will take on either Argentina or Switzerland. I'm going to head out in a few minutes to get a celebratory chocolate cake because, geez, I think I deserve it. Those players today for England gave everything. The heroes of the game for us today were a number of players. Jed Spence, who came in the game late on as a substitute, did an excellent job and almost scored. There was a penalty that was disallowed for him because he put his leg in front of the defenders who tripped him over, but it was not a penalty kick, even though it was initially awarded. So Jed Spence, a hero today. Jude Bellingham, obviously with the 2 goals, is the man of the match, obviously a hero today. I thought terrific defending from John Stones. He was brilliant today in his defending. I also liked what Bukayo Saka did. Bukayo Saka, fantastic performance from him today coming off the bench. We also saw Elliot Anderson in midfield did a brilliant job. They just spent 115 million pounds did Manchester City to get him to play club football coming in August. A lot of money, but he showed you today, did Elliot Anderson in midfield, why he's worth that kind of money, even though I think Manchester City overpaid for him. And then we had the players, the likes of, geez, who else was there? Morgan Rogers was very important in this game, coming off the bench as well. And there's maybe one other that I'm not remembering at the moment. But we had a number of heroes today, and we had the character that we showed. We defended better as the game went on, and I thought our shape was very good. But one thing we have to do is play better, because if it's Argentina that we play next, we're going to have to play a whole lot better than this. And we're going to have to move the ball around. We're going to have to move the ball around much, much quicker in these games to get the defense on its heels. Argentina is not a great defensive team either. I think England's defense has been a lot better as these games go along. But the defense was not particularly great in the early moments of the game against Mexico in the first half. But then as the game went on against Mexico on Sunday, the defense was much, much better, much more disciplined. I think we defended very well as a team in that game as the game progressed after the equalizer late on in that first half against Mexico. Same thing today. Our defense improved as the game went on, and we began to move the ball faster in the late stages of that first half. And there was no accident that when we move the ball quicker, we get the goal. So it was no accident that we scored the goal there right into injury time of the first half of the day against Norway, Jude Bellingham, because we moved the ball quicker. When you move the ball faster down the channels, you put your defenders, the defensive team, on its back heels, and they're forced to cover more ground. There's spaces left behind, and anything can happen in the box. And England were Johnny on the spot. They got some good rebounds off of misses. They were able to pepper the Norway goal in the end, even though there was a point that Norway had more chances than we did generally overall in the whole game, or certainly in the regulation. But in the second half, in the extra time, England definitely had more chances. England built their game very well. I think they were very disciplined late on their defending. They defended as a team very well. Very proud of the lads today. Proud of the character that these lads showed, and very, very happy, obviously, with the result, as are millions of England fans, where it's now, what, quarter to 2 in the morning now in the UK, and people in England particularly celebrating what has been a really good come from behind win. England have been battle tested now in these last 3 games. If you look back against the Democratic Republic of Congo, England were down 1-0 there, ended up winning that game by 2-1. Harry Kane with 2 goals late in that game to give England the win. The game against Mexico, England were down a man, down to 10 men with a red card in that game. England were able to come back, in fact, extend their lead to 3-1 with a man down, and go and win that game 3-2 in the game. I think I said incorrectly 2-2 at halftime in the Mexico game. That was not the case. It was 1-1 at halftime in the game against, it was 2-1 at halftime to England in the game against Mexico. And anybody can check that as well, because I said 2-2. It was 2-1 at halftime to England. And England extended their lead to 3-1 after the red card, after we had a man sent off. So that's important to keep in mind, to remember that. And then today, we found a different way to win, going down 1-0 again, coming from behind with really great character, holding on, weathering the storm, playing without the ball well, I think, certainly late in the second half. And then, of course, in the first 3 minutes of the extra time, we got the winning goal from Jude Bellingham. So again, really good quality when it counted for us, but we did not play well, and we need to start these first halves a lot better. Got to move the ball quickly. Got to move the ball quickly, much, much quicker than they did. And Thomas Tuchel, the England manager, who, as I said, is from Germany, said it in the post-game interview that I saw. He was not happy with the way England played the game. Not happy with it. He was not happy with the speed of the play. And I agree. The ball movement was terrible from us. Declan Rice was not good today. He did not have good set pieces. His corners never beat the first man. You've got to beat the first man off of a corner. You've got to launch the ball higher and deeper. And you've got to be able to have a delivery that's going to be put into a dangerous area in the 6-yard box. And Declan Rice just didn't have that kind of game. I think he was just tired. He looked fatigued even before the first 10 minutes of the game. And also Madueke. not good on the right hand side today. Madueke did not play well in this game. And surprise, surprise, what happened at halftime? Both Declan Rice and Noni Madueke was subbed off the pitch. Both of them are Arsenal teammates in the Premier League. If you know anything about the Premier League in England, they play on the same team, Arsenal, who just won the Premier League Championship Premier League title just a couple of months ago. The bottom line is that neither of those players were good, and so they got subbed off, and that was the correct move. And sometimes it just happens. Sometimes your day is not today. Sometimes whatever sport you're in, whether it's as a team or whether it's as an individual playing in an individual basis, sometimes you just don't have it. Cake, indeed. Yum, yum, says Shelter. Yeah, Shelter, I'm going to treat myself to a bit of chocolate cake in a few minutes' time. I can afford to miss a few minutes of the Argentina-Switzerland game. I've got to go get a slice of cake. Come on, chocolate cake. And I'm not a big fan. I don't eat chocolate cake every day. In fact, it's only the third slice I've had of it this year. And the first slice I had was at the end of June. And that was with the Knicks. So anyway, not that you really need to know any of that. The bottom line is you got to treat yourself sometimes, right? Shelter, thank you very much. Amy writes, congratulations on England's glorious victory. Amy, thank you very much for the congratulations. I really appreciate it. Now, I hope you will go and support England in this next game, no matter who it's against. But Amy, thank you very much. Amy, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for that. Amy Charmanik with those congratulations. Thank you, Amy, and thank you for joining us. Edie has joined us. Edie Frankenfield, hello to you. Great to see you here. Terry Ann has joined us as well. Hello, Terry Ann. And she says, party. Oh, Terry Ann, the party's just beginning. Hey, Jude, don't make it bad. Take a sad song and make it bad. Remember to let it. Then you can start to make. You can hear my voice is hoarse. Better. Oh, Terry Ann, I'm going to be partying tonight. Absolutely. Oh, Jude Bellingham, the man with the plan. And cometh the hour, cometh the man. Arise, Sir Jude, Jude Bellingham. Please, if you don't know who he is, please, pretty please with sugar and chocolate cake on top. Google his name, Jude Bellingham. Jude, and his last name is Bellingham, Bellingham, as in Mike. Jude Bellingham. Please Google him if you don't know who he is. This man is a legend, and really, he's the best player England have. Him and Harry Kane are the two superstars on England. And although Harry Kane had a fairly quiet game by his standards, Jude Bellingham, who scored, I think he scored against Mexico, in fact, the last time out. I think he scored a couple of goals against Mexico the last time out, if I'm not mistaken. Bottom line is that, Jude Bellingham had two against Mexico. Harry Kane had the third against Mexico. And bottom line is now Jude Bellingham. Jude Bellingham has scored 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4 times in the last 2 games. In fact, he scored 4 times in the last 6 days because Sunday he scored twice. And then today, if my arithmetic gets me correct, our mathematics, 6 days on or 5 days later, he scored 6 days later. I don't even remember. He scored twice again today. And Jude Bellingham, your most valuable player, or as we call him, the man of the match. Hey, Jude. And Terry Ann, there's going to be a lot of partying around here. Oh, yes. And actually, alcohol is not going to be involved. Not this time around. Again, I'm not a drinker by trade, but when the New York Knicks won last month, and I was in New York to see it, and actually at Game 4 of the NBA Finals, which of course I've written about on Substack. So if you want to read about me bragging and showing off about my New York City trip, of course I used to live in New York City, please go to my Substack. You'll feast your eyes on all the photos and videos. I took a million photos and videos. I only put a portion of them on this fairly lengthy story that I wrote the other day on Substack about being in New York, about the New York Knicks, about New York City, about people of New York, and lots of photos of food too. So maybe to get you salivating about some of the food and the great restaurants. And shout out to Chef Onawachi of Tatiana Restaurant. Please, if you're ever in New York City, make sure you go to Tatiana Restaurant at Lincoln Center. It's a bloody good place to be. That restaurant is absolutely fantastic. And also, if you're in New York, make sure you go and see the play, the August Wilson play, Joe Turner's Come and Gone, which stars none other than the great Taraji P. Henson and Cedric the Entertainer. A fantastic play that I also recommend. I write about all these things in the long, lengthy essay with lots of pictures and video. The Knicks, the parade, New York City, all the rest of it. So go please and look at that and become a subscriber. If you like what you see and hear here on this post-match, please become a subscriber. Thank you for those of you who do subscribe, whether you're free subscribers or paid subscribers. And I do want to say, if you're a paid subscriber, there is going to be giveaways renewed. We'll be renewing the giveaways, bringing those back. Of course, I've been kind of laying low on those over the last few weeks as I was in New York City, and I wanted to just give a little bit of time. But the giveaways will be back for paid subscribers only, of course. I give away vinyl records. I give away books. I give away merchandise. I give away movies. I give away compact disc albums. I give away quite a lot of things, all from yours truly. And again, it pays to be a paid subscriber for that reason and many more. I'll be giving away things in the future like Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing. I'll be giving away some more vinyl records. I'll be giving away Knicks championship merchandise, even if you're not a Knicks fan. Just the memory of having a team that hadn't won in 53 years. I bought a million pieces of merchandise. Some of it I'm going to be giving away exclusively to paid subscribers here on Substack. So Terry Ann, thank you for your comment. And let me read the rest of yours out. Terry Ann, we are supporting England. Thank you, Terry Ann. I'm trying to think of a song, Terry Ann, that has your name in it. Every time, particularly when a woman is joining this chat, I do try to think of songs that may have that particular woman's name in it. And I just make a habit of trying to sing them. Sometimes I do well, not sometimes. I do an awful job at singing some of these songs. Thank you for putting up with my I don't know what. But thank you for being here. I do recognize that time is short and I don't want to waste yours. And I thank you for your trust. I really appreciate that because trust is very important. And I hope that I have earned yours. I do not take that for granted. It's very, very important. Your time is everything. And as I said, you could be doing something much more wonderful than watching me here. But I do thank you for doing so. I'm going to read out the final few comments that you've got here. Puma finds things very funny. Puma, I can't think of a song for you though, because I don't think there's ever been a song that has the word Puma in it. But anyway, maybe I'm wrong. Puma, thank you for joining us. Puma, thank you for joining us tonight. Teresa Gibbs says hello to us. Teresa, thank you for joining us and saying hello. It's a pleasure to have you here, and everyone else here as well. I want to thank you all for joining. Valencia has joined us too. Hello, Valencia. As we are winding, as we are winding down the World Cup quarterfinal post-match, the final score after extra time today from Miami Stadium there, the Hard Rock Cafe Stadium, was Norway 1, England 2 again after extra time. Jude Bellingham. Hey, Jude, don't make it bad. Take a sad song and make it better. Oh, remember to let her in. Oh, Jude. Come on, Jude. And we're not talking Jude Law here. We're talking Jude Bellingham, mate. Come on, England. Absolutely fantastic stuff from the lads. Listen, in the end, we got the job done, and we are in to the semifinals. We'll be playing that game on Wednesday afternoon, I think. I don't know what the kickoff time is going to be, but it's going to be Wednesday, and it will be in Atlanta, where England played their game against the Democratic Republic of Congo a week or two ago. So keep that in mind as well. So England have familiarity with Atlanta, and if Argentina get through, I think they played in Atlanta against Egypt. So it's not like Argentina wouldn't have that experience being in that stadium there in Atlanta. And I think Switzerland may have played in Atlanta as well. So whichever one of those two teams will kick off, and they'll kick off in 5 minutes' time. Whichever of those teams gets through, I think both of them have played in Atlanta at least once during this tournament. Valencia, hello. My spouse just became a British citizen, writes Terry Ann. Well, then, congratulations to your spouse. I'm very thrilled for your spouse that that has happened for them, and I do hope that they enjoy their British citizenship. And obviously, I'm sure that your spouse too is over the moon, Terry Ann, after this victory. That is terrific stuff. Great to hear it, Terry Ann. Thank you very much. Your household rooting for England. 3 lines on a shirt. Jules Rimet is gleaming. 30 years of hurt. Make that 60 years of hurt. Because that song came out in 1996. It's coming home. It's coming home. It's coming. Football's coming home. We hope. We hope. Well, we've got 2 wins to get. We've got to take them one at a time. If we can win our semi-final against whomever it's going to be against, ooh, my goodness me. This would be the first final if England can get past either of these two teams. And it will be a tough one against Argentina for sure. It'll be a very challenging game. Switzerland will be a little bit easier. But if England can get through that semi-final, they would make their first World Cup final since 1966. Let me not get ahead of myself. Okay. Let me not get ahead of myself. Anyway, let me read out the final few songs. Oh, few comments, not songs. Songs on the brain. Puma's got some musical notes to play. Thanks for being so upbeat and entertaining. Puma says, thank you for being here, watching me try to be much more upbeat, to be upbeat and entertaining. Watching me be that. Thank you. It's always appreciated, Puma. Thank you for being here. And everyone else, thank you as well for watching. You know what, Puma? I'll do some karaoke one of these days. I'm failing miserably at that. We hope we can get there. Yes, Carol, we certainly do hope that we can make it through. I predicted that England would get, again, just to remind people, as I said this earlier, before this World Cup started, I predicted that England would get to the semi-final. So, let's hope that they can go one better than the semi-final. In fact, 2 better, because you want to get to the final, but you also want to win it. Now, the other thing to keep in mind, the European competition, the Euros, as we call them, they happen every 4 years, right? In between the World Cups. So in 2022, there was the World Cup. In 2024, there was the Euros. 2026, the World Cup. And in 2028, the Euros. Now, back in 2024, the European final, the Euro final, was Spain against England. Could we possibly have, in this World Cup, just 2 years later, the same final? France plays Spain on Tuesday. England will play their semi-final on Wednesday. Could we possibly have a repeat of that Euro final from 2024 here in 2026 in the World Cup final? We shall see. It's so interesting. I think about these things and maybe they've got nothing to do with each other. But again, the New York Knicks this season, they had the NBA Cup back in December, the NBA Cup final. The New York Knicks won that. They won that NBA Cup. And who do they beat? The San Antonio Spurs. Flash forward 6 months later, NBA Finals, the New York Knicks won. And who do they beat to win that NBA championship? The San Antonio Spurs. Now, could we have a Spain-England rematch in the World Cup final from the European final of 2024? Now, Spain won that day by a score of 2-1 in that Euro final. We will see what the future holds. I want to thank everybody for being here. It is almost kickoff time for Argentina against Switzerland, and I will not keep you back from that. If you are watching it, again, you can watch it in the United States on Fox, or of course, you can watch it on Telemundo. I hope that you enjoy your World Cup weekend. Please take care. I'll be back tomorrow for a Sunday with Omar, which of course is not going to be sports related. It's going to be related to the story that I post, the essay that I post later on tonight. So take care, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your World Cup weekend until tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Pacific. Thank you very much for the pleasure of your company. Thank you for your time, and take care. This is Omar signing off for now. Come on, England!